Carlos Prates versus Jack Della Maddalena is going down at UFC Perth. This fight is straight violence. You got Jack Della Maddalena, one of the cleanest boxers in the entire UFC, going up against Carlos Prates, who might be one of the scariest finishers in the entire UFC. And what makes this fight so interesting is that both guys are extremely dangerous, but they win in completely different ways. Let's break it down. It's your boy, We Fight All Night, and we are back with another episode of the MMA and Boxing Show. And today we will be breaking down Carlos Prates versus Jack Della Maddalena going down at UFC Perth, and this has implications of fight of the year written all over it. First, let's talk Jack Della Maddalena, or as we all like to call him, JDM. Now, he isn't one of these fighters that's gonna look really flashy at first until you realize that he is breaking people down with insane precision, very accurate boxing. His boxing is beautiful, one of the top in the UFC. Excellent timing. He throws insane body shots, but the one thing about JDM is he is always calm under pressure. One of JDM's biggest strengths is his ability to stay composed even in the chaos. Even when opponents rush him, he doesn't panic. When he gets taken down, he doesn't panic. He would either get back to his feet, or if the fight was already on the feet, he'd get his distance and slowly begin to start picking you apart. Another advantage for JDM coming into this fight is his UFC experience. So JDM has been tested in some really long fights, including one with the current pound for pound champion Islam Makhachev, where he did go all 5 rounds. He also did go up against another Dagestani wrestler that he also did end up finishing. So JDM's grappling has been tested. We have already seen this guy adjust mid-fight and overcome adversity in some huge matchups. But there are weaknesses here too. So JDM is susceptible to be hit. Although he does have some really good boxing and he does have some really good movement, he is susceptible to be hit. There are moments where he does keep his chin a little too high during exchanges, and against a sniper like Carlos Prates, this could be extremely dangerous. Is that his boxing stance, although it is very good and one of the best in the UFC, it could work against him. So we have seen Jack Della Maddalena be susceptible to the leg kicks very often, and Carlos Prates has a multifaceted game where he uses all 8 limbs, and we can guarantee we will see a lot of these leg kicks if Jack Della Maddalena does not force the fight into the inside. I believe if he tries to stay on the outside, dance around, and dart in and out of boxing range, he is going to eat a lot of these leg kicks. Now, let's talk about Carlos Prates. So this guy is terrifying. No, like really terrifying. Prates has that kind of rare power where even the most experienced UFC fighters will freeze up the moment he starts landing anything clean. Prates gives me the the old Brazilian shooter box days vibes. Like if Carlos Prates was around in those Anderson Silva, Lyoto Machida, Jose Aldo days, he would have been training right at Black House with them guys. But what makes him special isn't the power. It's the timing. He stays relaxed, reads reactions, and then boom, he hits you with something out of this world where you didn't even realize it was coming. And what's even crazier is Carlos Prates has already finished multiple fighters who have yet to be finished, not only in their UFC career, but in their MMA career. This right here is a massive statement. There are guys in MMA who've survived wars for years. Then Carlos Prates comes around, touches them once, and it's lights out. That kind of finishing ability really changes everything in any fight that Carlos Prates is in, because all fighters know that they will not fight the same when there's that one fighter that has the great equalizer and can shut your lights off after one punch. Now, obviously, Prates has weaknesses as well. So the biggest question is his defensive wrestling and what would happen to his gas tank if he was dragged into deep waters by elite competition. So we haven't really seen him pushed into long, exhausting 5-round fights with anyone with the type of pace and gas tank as a Jack Della Maddalena. And another thing is Carlos Prates tends to start slow, similar to how Anderson Silva was back in the day. Anderson would pretty much always throw away that first round or throw away at least the first 3 minutes of the round, just getting reads, just reading you out. But against a sharp, technical striker like Jack Della Maddalena, that could mean trouble if this thing goes to the scorecards, because you do not want to give any rounds away when the talent level is this close. So how can JDM win this fight? I feel like the key or the path to victory for JDM to win this fight will be volume, pressure, striking, and staying disciplined, not getting into too many firefights with Carlos Prates, and actually putting together more than 2 and 3 strikes at a time. You do not want to just throw one strike at Carlos Prates, who may very well be one of the best counter punchers in the UFC. Also, if Jack can survive the early rounds and weather the storm of Carlos Prates early on and get him into the later rounds, maybe even drag him up against the cage, wrestle with him a little bit, just do anything to wear on his tank, we could be looking at a late finish for Jack Della Maddalena if his game plan works correctly, because there are still a lot of questions about the gas tank of Carlos Prates. Now, for Carlos Prates, it's all about damage and timing. He needs to make Jack uncomfortable early, push at every exchange, and as we said earlier, I feel like if this fight stays on the outside, if this ends up as a chess match, I feel Carlos Prates may end up tearing Jack Della Maddalena's legs apart. So we all should look out for those leg kicks from Carlos Prates. I do think that this is one of his biggest keys to victory. And I think that this fight is way closer than people are realizing, and I smell implications of fight of the year written all over this fight. But if I had to choose one winner, I would lean slightly towards Carlos the Nightmare Prates. I just think his finishing ability is just something to watch out for, and the fact that he has already finished multiple fighters who have yet to be finished, this is a key. So if we look back, Islam Makhachev went 5 rounds with Jack Della Maddalena and was not able to finish him. Jack Della Maddalena has yet to be finished in the UFC, but he has been finished in his very first and second MMA fight ever. So that's not to say anything about JDM. You know, maybe he has increased his skills greatly since then. I mean, he did become the UFC welterweight champion, but stylistically, I honestly think this could end up being a nightmare matchup for Jack Della Maddalena, especially if he isn't able to implement some wrestling to just neutralize the attacks of Carlos Prates on the feet. But hey, I could easily be choosing Jack Della Maddalena if he goes ahead and weathers the storm and, you know, really looks good and finds his range early. So it's going to be all about how Jack Della Maddalena looks early on in this fight. If he could survive that early storm, that early flurry from Carlos Prates, and especially if he is able to drag Prates into deep waters, the favor will definitely swing towards JDM. And that is it. It's been another episode of the MMA and Boxing Show. Please drop your comments down in the comment section. Let me know who you are picking for this UFC Perth main event. Are you going with Jack Della Maddalena? Are you going with Carlos Prates? We got Australia versus Brazil. We are in for a treat. People, smash that like button, subscribe, hit that hype button, help your boy get this out to more people. And that is it. This is the MMA and Boxing Show. It's your boy. We fight all night, and I'm out.